Maria recently worked with us at Share My Telly Job to find a job sharing edit producer. It was kind of sprung upon you, but we're very proud to have her here because she took on the challenge and she thought creatively and came up with a solution that I hope you're going to say worked well. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
I will give you the warts and all version if that's okay. So we have a returning children's series. It's an award-winning, brilliant, if I do say so myself, children's series called Operation Ouch. And the 7th series was commissioned just after Christmas with the team starting in February. And because it's the 7th series, we have a lot of returning staff on it. And one of our returning staff was one of our edit producers called Nikki. And our exec producer had been in touch via text, like, are you free? Are you up for coming back? She was like, yep, great. And so I'd sent Nikki an email saying, you know, and Rom said you're free to come back. That's brilliant. We should probably catch up. Let me know if it's easier to do it via email or phone. So I had a few emails backwards and forwards. And Nikki said, you know, actually, if we could do a phone call, that would be great. So I'd gone into the phone call thinking we were just going to talk rates. These are the dates. And I think we'd already had kind of dates email on chat on the email. And that was it. My edit producer was sorted. So we had the conversation and Nikki said, well, what are the chances of the job being part-time? And my first thought was, oh, God. Purely from a selfish point of view of, well, it's not a part-time job, and we're now going to have to go through the recruitment process of trying to work this out. And then I thought, actually, that's really uncharitable. And I admit it was a fleeting, it wasn't a long, it was in the course of the phone call, and I mean, Nikki will be able to say yes or no. I don't think she realised I'd had that thought. I hope she didn't realise I'd had that thought. And then I thought, actually, I work 4 days a week. At the time, it was 4.5. Every request I've had for something flexible has been met with a very positive response, and actually, there's no reason why on Operation Ouch we can't. So Operation Ouch in its edit cuts sequentially. So we don't cut whole episodes, we cut sequences, we cut hospital stories, we cut lab experiments and links and what have you, and then we stitch them all together. So actually, if ever there was a show that could absolutely be done by 2 different people, it could. So it's not a part-time role. Our edit producer job is absolutely not a part-time role. But I'd said to Nikki, look, we can't do part-time, but we can do job share. And in my head, I'd expected job share to come as a pair. And said, you know, do you know anybody? And she was a bit like, not really. So I was aware of Share My Telly Job and Lou. So I'm like, okay, you go away and have a think if there's anybody that you might be able to match up with. I'll go away and do some exploration, you know, and we'll just keep talking. So at that point, we left it a little bit open-ended in that my requirement was that I said to Nikki, how many days do you want to do? She said, ideally 3. Okay, from my point of view, I think it's important that we have 3 and then 2. So there's continuity across the week. So Nikki had said, yeah, I'd like to do 3 days a week. Okay, I'll go away and see if we can find someone to do the other 2. So at that point, I got in touch with Lou and dropped her an email saying, I'm looking for the other half of a job share and I don't really know if this is something you can help with. And, you know, so we had a really lovely conversation on the phone and he was like, this is great. So we have gone for it. It means we could get Nikki back. And my 2 job shares are here. So it's Nikki and Emma in the front. If anybody does want to talk to me a bit later on, they're happy to take questions and things. I think everybody was very pleasantly surprised at the interview process, and you know the series producer was like, I think we found our one. You know, I've still got more to see, but I really think we found our one. She asked the right questions and had sort of not really asked about the job sharing bit and how the job sharing bit works, because we don't know. That's for you two to figure out. So from my point of view, it's absolutely worked. It's been seamless. We have 2 heads for the price of 1. It hasn't cost me any more money in terms of the time in the edit. We don't do a handover day. And I've said to Nikki and Emma, do you resent the fact that you have to give up some of your own time to do a handover? And they said no, because that's part of the job. And actually, the disadvantage of having to do that is way, way offset by the advantage of only working 2 or 3 days a week. And actually, that's part of our job. You know, part of the job is the handover. And one of the days I'm working, so you sort of just feel like, oh, I'm just carrying working a little bit late. And the other day, it's like I'm just gearing myself up so I know what I'm coming into. So I caught up with my series producer and exec producer today to say, look, I'm going on this thing tonight, and we've not really talked about it since. Does it work for you both? And the series producer sort of summed it up perfectly, because she said, I don't notice any difference whatsoever. So the series producer has said, I have never asked a question where the person who was in that day hasn't been able to answer it. I asked the editor what he thought, and he said, it's really great because I've always got someone to bitch about to the other one. And then went on to saying, do you think you might be able to make it work for me next year?
Because obviously your job share is quite unorthodox, I suppose, because, you know, quite often we talk about, you know, a job share team kind of coming together, you know, they know each other, they know how they work, and kind of presenting themselves as a team. But you kind of had to very quickly figure out how you were going to work together. How did it work, and how have you kind of worked out how your skills match, I suppose?
We would absolutely do it on Ouch again, and actually, should there be another series of Ouch, hopefully there will, I would absolutely advertise edit producer positions as we are open to considering a job share. We shouldn't underestimate the job sharers, how much they want to not work full time, and so they will go the extra mile to make it work so that they can have what they want. So I'm completely open to it. I mean, I only in going through all of these conversations and things did I realise I didn't actually ask our CEO. I spoke to our exec producer, I spoke to our series producer, and because they were both on board, I just did a casual, oh, by the way, one of our edit producers on Ouch is going to be a job share. You know, so I didn't think about, you know, got to get buy-in from senior management. I just sort of told them that this is what we were doing. But actually, because it's working and it's not causing any problem, then there is no reason for us not to consider doing it again.